Alright, what we got here is a Boyd's laminate thumbhole featherweight stock. I'm just removing the floor plate and the action from the stock. I just checked it for fitting. The action's a Hauer short action 308. Now we're just removing the trigger unit and also the safety catch. It's quite important here, otherwise you're going to end up with the bedding in all sorts of strange places that you really don't want it to be. I just make sure that everything's put in its place, right screws with the right part. Right, here I'm just lining in the action in the stock, and I'm just for the levelling purposes for when I put the bedding in it, just making sure, putting a pencil mark across there, making sure that when I chuck the action back into the stock that it's actually sitting where it's supposed to sit, and that's just a marker for me to make sure that she's in the right place. And there's everything out. Right, that's the stock, it's all taped up just to protect it. I've taped up back real good. Here I'm just keying into the stock a bit so the bedding's got something to really bite into. Just using a Dremel tool with a bit of a conical cutter. Just make sure you really key into those areas that the bedding's going to get into, so it's got a good foothold into the stock. Right, here I'm just going to put a little piece of cardboard in place down by the fore-end just to make sure everything's free floated. Good to go. Right, this is all the stock, the action is all plasticined up, taped up there, the recoil lug taped up where the trigger unit was, and the headless bolts in. I've put some metal tape, and there's the plasticine dams for the barreled action. Putting a little release agent on there. I think that's just Kiwi shoe polish, to be honest. Comes with the kit. We'll talk about in a minute. Make sure you really give it a good covering. The last thing you want to do is permanently glue this thing in there with all that junk on it. I also just purchased a little bit of powdered graphite, just from like Bunnings Warehouse or something, just to put over the plasticine. It's just an extra bit of security for having it not stick. Right, that's the terminal ballistics match grade bedding. It's the one I've chosen. Read a lot of good reviews. Just mixing it up there. You'll notice I've got a couple of straws in where the action screws go. That's just so when I slide the action in with the headless bolts on it, it's got a good guide. Right, just about ready to pour it in. It's quite runny, the initial pour. Try and pour it in nice and slow, so you don't get many air bubbles. You'll see I've got a few side skirts there on the stock, and that'll be for when I put the action in. It's just to catch a bit of the overfill. You want the overfill, and then you can wipe it, tear those away, and then wipe it clear, and then just let it set. After pouring this in, I'm going to let this sit for a bit, just to see if there is any air bubbles, and they'll rise to the surface and try and get rid of most of those. There it is, I've pulled the side skirts off, the action's back into the stock. I've just tied it down with some elastic, not too tight, but tight enough to put it where it's supposed to sit. And this had its, I think I gave it 48 hours curing. It's just me releasing the headless bolts. Removing the rear action screw. Those are just old bolts that I knocked the heads off. Right, crunch time. Shocking the thing out of its out of the stock. So it turned out pretty well. Came out nice and smooth. One stupid thing I did do was delete the recording I had of me tidying up the bedding, like the mag well and stuff like that there. You see it's still got the metallic tape on there. I sand that down until you get a nice clean finish like that. I was pretty happy with that. This is my first bedding job, and yeah, I can't complain. It's pretty tidy. That's it. Now, get the action in the scope level. Take it out for a